The grove of Jetavana was peaceful, with leaves shimmering softly in the golden hues of late afternoon sunlight. Disciples sat in quiet anticipation, their robes fluttering like gentle ripples on a calm lake. Among them, I knelt, my heart burdened by an incessant fear of illness and frailty. The Buddha's serene gaze swept across the assembly, his wisdom palpable in the air, like the scent of blooming jasmine. "Beloved disciples," the Buddha began, his voice resonating like the soft tolling of a temple bell. "The mind weaves stories that ensnare the heart." I raised my voice with trembling courage, unable to contain the storm of questions within. "Blessed One, why does my mind dwell endlessly on the fear of sickness, dissecting every sensation within this mortal body?" The Buddha regarded me with deep compassion, his eyes reflecting both the ocean and the skies above it. "You, like many, confuse the nature of the body with the essence of the self," he said, each word an anchor for my restless thoughts. He then gestured to the earth beneath us, rich and dark, nourishing the roots of the great Bodhi trees. "The body," he explained, "is like the soil, transient, fertile, yet bound to the cycles of decay and renewal." I listened, rapt, as he continued, "Health anxiety is born of attachment, a clinging to the illusion of permanence in a realm governed by impermanence." The disciples murmured softly, their voices like the rustling of leaves caught in a gentle breeze. My heart ached for clarity. "But Master," I asked, "how can I confront this fear that rises unbidden, gripping the very essence of my being?" The Buddha smiled, a radiant yet calming presence that seemed to dissolve the weight of our collective distress. "To unravel fear," he replied, "one must first understand its roots. Fear arises when the mind is clouded by ignorance." He paused, letting the truth of his words ripple through the assembly like concentric waves in a still pond. "Ananda," he said, turning his gaze toward me, "fear of illness is an attachment to the body's fleeting comfort and imagined invincibility." He narrated then the tale of Kisagotami, a woman whose grief for her lost child had consumed her life entirely. Kisagotami sought a cure, the Buddha said, and I instructed her to bring a mustard seed from a home untouched by death. She searched from house to house, he continued, but found none free from the shadow of loss. In her search, she realized that suffering is universal, and she released her attachment to permanence. The lesson, he explained, was clear. Accepting impermanence allows one to transcend fear and sorrow. For clinging to what cannot endure brings only pain. I absorbed the story like parched earth, drinking the first rains, each word a revelation that pierced my doubts. "How," I asked, "can one embrace impermanence while living in a body that constantly reminds us of its frailty?" The Buddha's gaze grew more intense, as though he sought to awaken something deep within my core. "The body is but one of the 5 aggregates," he said. "Alongside sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, these aggregates," he continued, "are impermanent, subject to change, and ultimately devoid of a permanent self. Clinging to them brings suffering." His words swept through my mind, dismantling the walls I had built against the inevitability of life's transitions. "Meditation," he instructed, "is the path to clarity. Observe the body, but do not identify with it. Watch its sensations as a witness." He demonstrated this practice with a simplicity that belied its profound depth. "When a sensation arises," he explained, "observe it without judgment. Let it flow. Let it pass." Like a cloud crossing the sky, the assembly fell silent, the weight of the teaching settling into the very marrow of our beings. Yet my restless mind still grasped for assurance. "Master," I said, "how can one prevent the mind from falling again into its habitual cycles of fear?" The Buddha raised his hand, his gesture as steady and enduring as the mountains themselves. "Fear," he said, "is like a shadow. It cannot exist without the light of awareness. Turn toward it with mindfulness. He told another tale of a farmer tormented by crows that descended upon his fields, devouring the fruits of his labor. In his desperation, the Buddha recounted. The farmer waved his arms and shouted, but the crows returned each day. Only when he observed their habits, the Buddha concluded. Did he understand their nature? He adjusted his ways, and harmony was restored. I saw myself in the farmer, flailing against the winds of fear rather than understanding its nature. Blessed One, I said, your words are a balm to my troubled heart. Yet the body feels so real, so immediate. The Buddha nodded, acknowledging my struggle with a depth of empathy that only he could embody. The body is real in its temporality, he affirmed. But it is not the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality, he explained, is the cessation of clinging, the freedom from attachments that bind the heart and obscure wisdom. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows that stretched across the grove, the Buddha offered a final teaching. Ananda, he said, and all gathered here, remember this truth: what arises shall pass, and what passes shall arise anew. Breathe with this understanding, he instructed, and let each breath be a reminder of life's impermanence, a bridge between fear and freedom. The disciples rose slowly, their hearts lighter, their minds clearer, as though the teachings had dissolved the chains of their afflictions. I felt the first stirrings of peace within, a delicate blossom unfurling in the soil of newfound understanding. And as the moon ascended into the night sky, its light bathing the grove in silver serenity, I realized the path had begun to unfold before me. Another day, another moment in the timeless embrace of the Jetavana grove, where sunlight danced upon the swaying leaves. The disciples gathered once more, their hearts carrying questions that mirrored the shifting clouds above. Among them, I sat in quiet contemplation, my struggle with health anxiety still lingering like an unwelcome shadow. The Buddha approached with his measured steps, his presence akin to a calming river that quenches the thirst of parched lands. Beloved disciples, he began, his voice flowing like the first notes of dawn. Today, we shall explore balance in the art of living. His gaze rested upon me, recognizing the unease still etched upon my face despite my efforts at mindfulness. Ananda, he said gently, you tread the path with sincerity, yet your stride falters between extremes. Let us illuminate the middle way. The grove fell silent as he spoke, the words weaving a tapestry of wisdom in the minds of all who listened. To conquer health anxiety, the Buddha said, one must neither shun care for the body nor cling to its every whim. He narrated the tale of Sona, a monk driven to extremes in his pursuit of enlightenment, exhausting his body and spirit entirely. Sona tightened the strings of effort, the Buddha explained, until they snapped, hindering his progress rather than propelling it forward. Moderation, he continued, is the essence of the middle way, a harmonious balance that nourishes both body and mind without excess or neglect. The disciples nodded, their murmurs like the rustling leaves affirming the wisdom of his words. I raised my voice, seeking clarity in the profound simplicity he offered. Blessed One, I asked, how does one walk this middle path when fear tempts the mind to retreat into extremes? The Buddha regarded me with serene understanding, his gaze steady as the mountains. Mindfulness, he replied, is your compass, guiding the heart away from fear's snares and into the sanctity of balance. He demonstrated the practice with his calming presence, inviting all to follow his example. Close your eyes, he said, and breathe deeply, each breath a bridge between the body and the mind. As fear arises, he continued, observe its nature without judgment, without attachment, and let it flow like a river past your awareness. The disciples followed his guidance, their breaths uniting in a symphony of stillness that enveloped the grove. Master, Ananda began, his voice heavy with worry. I am consumed by fear. Illness seems to follow me at every turn. Sensations, he said, are like the ripples on a pond. They disturb the surface but cannot alter the depth of its waters. He narrated another tale, this one of a bird caught in a tempest, struggling against the wind that drove it off course. The bird learned not to resist, he said, but to glide with the currents, conserving its strength and finding clarity. The body, he explained, is a vessel, not the essence of your being. Care for it, but do not mistake it for the self. His words settled into my heart like seeds planted in fertile soil, ready to sprout with the light of understanding. Blessed One, I said, I grasp your teachings, yet the temptation to fear remains strong. How does one remain vigilant without succumbing? The Buddha smiled gently, his compassion encompassing not just me but the entire assembly. Vigilance, he said, is not the rejection of fear but the acknowledgement of its fleeting presence. Like a cloud passing overhead, he recounted the story of a gardener who nurtured his plants with care, neither abandoning them nor obsessing over their growth. The gardener trusted the seasons, the Buddha said, knowing each moment of tending was a step toward flourishing. Trust, he continued, is the cornerstone of the middle path. Trust in impermanence, trust in mindfulness, and trust in the truth of harmony. The disciples whispered softly, their voices carrying the resonance of wisdom across the grove like a gentle breeze. My heart felt lighter, though questions still remained. The disciples nodded, their expressions glowing with the light of newfound wisdom. Their gazes turned inward yet connected. I felt the weight of his words, their truth undeniable yet challenging, their simplicity profound. It reveals the impermanence of form and the resilience of the mind. The middle path, he continued, is not a shield from suffering but a guide through its tumult, a light amid the shadows. He narrated one final tale, of a traveler who braved the desert, neither rushing nor retreating, finding solace in each step forward. The traveler reached his destination, the Buddha said, not through haste or hesitation but through steadfast balance. The sun dipped below the horizon, its golden light giving way to the cool embrace of twilight. The grove fell silent, each disciple absorbing the teachings in their own way, their hearts attuned to the harmony of the middle path. I rose slowly, my heart lighter, my mind clearer, as though the Buddha's words had dissolved the chains of my doubts. And as the stars emerged to adorn the night sky, I realized the balance of my steps had begun to unfold. Another day, another gathering beneath the ancient trees of Jetavana, their branches reaching skyward as though seeking the infinite. The disciples assembled in quiet reverence, their hearts tuned to the wisdom that flowed from the Buddha's presence. Among them, I sat with newfound resolve, my journey through fear and balance culminating in a desire for harmony. The Buddha approached with his tranquil grace, his footsteps soft upon the earth as though he walked upon the very air. Beloved disciples, he began, his voice a gentle river weaving through the valleys of our hearts. Let us speak of harmony. His gaze found mine, a light within his eyes that seemed to pierce through the remaining clouds of my uncertainty. Ananda, he said, your path has brought you closer to understanding, yet the full blossom of harmony still awaits. Let us explore together. The grove fell silent, the air charged with the anticipation of a truth yet to be revealed, a lesson yet to be learned. Harmony, the Buddha said, is the natural state of the mind unburdened by fear, attachment, and aversion. It is your birthright. He paused, his words sinking into the depths of our consciousness like rain nourishing the roots of the earth. To achieve harmony, he continued, one must embrace the impermanence of all things and walk the path with unwavering mindfulness. I raised my voice, compelled by the weight of the questions still lingering within me. Blessed One, I asked, How can one sustain harmony when the world itself seems fraught with suffering and chaos? The Buddha smiled, a beacon of compassion that illuminated the shadows of doubt within me. The world, he said, is as it has always been, a dance of creation and dissolution, joy and sorrow, light and shadow. He narrated the tale of a musician who sought to play a melody that captured the essence of existence. The musician, the Buddha explained, realized that harmony was not found in avoiding discord but in weaving it into the greater melody. Life, he said, is much the same. Harmony arises not from the absence of suffering but from the acceptance of its place. His words resonated deeply, their simplicity carrying a profound truth that began to dissolve the remnants of my inner turmoil. Blessed One, I said, I see the wisdom in your teaching. But how does one weave suffering into the melody of life? The Buddha's gaze deepened, his eyes reflecting the vastness of the sky and the stillness of the earth. Compassion, he said, is the thread that binds the melody, transforming suffering into a bridge that unites hearts and minds. He recounted another tale. This one of a potter who crafted vessels not by resisting the clay's imperfections but by embracing them. The potter's vessels, the Buddha explained, held water not despite their flaws but because of them, for the cracks revealed their true character. Compassion, he continued, begins with yourself. Acknowledge your fears, your doubts, and your suffering with the same kindness you would offer another. The disciples listened intently, their silence a testament to the depth of their engagement with the teachings. I observed, my own heart stirred by the simplicity and power of his words, their resonance extending far beyond the boundaries of the monastery. The Buddha turned to me, his gaze steady, his expression expectant, as though inviting me to reflect on the moment's significance. Illness and mortality, he said, are not adversaries but teachers, guiding you to the truth of impermanence and the freedom it brings. He narrated one final tale of a candle whose flame danced even in the wind, casting light into the darkest corners. The flame endured, the Buddha said, not because it resisted the wind but because it adapted, flowing with its currents. Harmony, he continued, is like the flame. It endures not by clinging to constancy but by embracing the ever-changing nature of existence. As the sun dipped below the horizon, its golden light giving way to the silvery embrace of twilight, the Buddha offered his final words. Ananda, he said, and all who are gathered here, remember this truth: harmony is not a destination but a way of being. Walk the path with mindfulness, he instructed. Breathe with awareness, and let each step be a testament to your understanding of impermanence. The disciples rose slowly, their hearts lighter, their minds clearer, as though the teachings had dissolved the chains of their afflictions. I felt the first stirrings of a profound peace within, a harmony that transcended the bounds of fear, doubt, and suffering. And as the stars emerged to adorn the night sky, their light reflected in the still waters of a nearby pond, I realized the melody of life had begun to play within me. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.